Long before the field was readied, before the frenzied patrons filled the arena, the gladiators were chosen. Back was last year's king, still strong as ever, and the quiet but consistent warrior still determined to take charge. The good-natured son of a former champion out to make his own mark. The seasoned intimidator, desperate for one more taste of glory. And the young prince, sure that youth and raw talent could defeat them all. These five, with 40 more, would embark in a year-long battle. A fight to the finish. An exhaustive quest for the coveted cup. Behind the unlikely front row of Skinner and Steve Grissom were the always dangerous Dales, Jared and Earnhardt. It didn't take long for the Intimidator to duck in front of his new teammate for the lead. Robert Presley in the Cartoon Network car took a ride worthy of the Wacky Racers. Jeff Gordon then headed to the pits with a cut tire, though at first no bad rubber was found. That stop left Jeff with a mirror full of Mark Martin and his drafting posse, gunning to put the kid a lap down.
Whatever happened, I don't know. I mean, that thing just took off on me, started getting big on loose.
All right, maybe somebody was spilling something. We might have got some oil or something.
I apologize.
But wait, this is the team whose t-shirts read, "Refuse to lose." And sure enough, a caution helped Gordon avoid an early doom. Rejuvenated, he worked himself up through the field, and with 10 to go, was back challenging Earnhardt for seconds.
Here goes a pass. Gordon making a move on the inside of Earnhardt. Oh, Jarrett's loose.
The crash dropped Dale's Daytona 500 record to a dismal 0 for 19. But old Ironhead kept his chin up. From the ambulance, he could see his car still had all four wheels. So he climbed back in his battered Chevy and back in the race, to the delight of the Earnhardt faithful. In restrictor plate racing, you need an ally, and no one could withstand the combined forces of Gordon and his Hendrick teammates. With 5 laps left, they outflanked Bill Elliott and settled it among themselves. This late crash set up a dash to the caution, with Gordon crossing the stripe in front of Labonte and new teammate Ricky Craven. For owner Rick Hendrick, undergoing treatment for leukemia, there could be no better medicine.
This is as awesome as it gets, man. I mean, 1, 2, 3, Daytona 500.
Congratulations, this is a great gift for Rick.
Daytona launches the championship chase amidst monumental hype. But the weekly grind toward the championship starts in earnest a week later at Rockingham. Still high from their Daytona win, the Rainbow Warriors came to the Rock on a roll. But from the start, Jarrett's Thunderbird was more in tune. He dominated the first 350 laps while Gordon struggled to catch up. Twisting, cranking, turning, Gordon and his colorful crew searched for speed, and finally they found it on the high side. Running an outside line, Gordon slowly reeled in his blue oval victim. Gordon's move was late, but decisive. In the final 50 laps, he pulled away to win by nearly 3 seconds.
I'm shocked. I mean, I never dreamed that the car would come on like it did there at the end. I was just so happy, you know, for this team and for the car to just be stable all day long and to be consistent. That's what we're working on this year, trying to be consistent.
The next week at Bristol, Gordon took matters into his own hands.
Here comes Jeff Gordon to take the lead. Gordon takes the lead. Rusty slips. Jeff Gordon will win at Bristol, Tennessee. Wallace second. Labonte third. pocket. There it is. He is. Look at him, man.
I actually made a move to go low, and he blocked me a little bit, but I was all over him, and I just ran him real hard in the corner, and he got a little bit loose, and I touched him just a tiny bit, and all of a sudden he slid up the track, and I was driving by him. I couldn't even believe it myself.
The Wallace fans cried foul, unnecessary roughness. But what did Rusty say?
That's how you got to race at Bristol or a lot of these short tracks if you're going to try to win. I mean, you don't do that at a Michigan or a Charlotte or a Daytona because that can be pretty wild there. That would cause a major wreck. But usually in a short track, a little something like that will just get you enough out of shape that you can drive by. And that's what he did to me. And that's what will happen if I'm in that position.
With that move, Gordon had drawn a line in the sand. At Martinsville, he led a record 432 of 500 laps, thumbing his nose at the competition. Not even this mid-race spin with Jimmy Spencer could keep Gordon from his fourth win in 8 races. This was the same Gordon who once moaned that he couldn't drive the short tracks. Now, he seemed invincible on the half-milers. Suddenly, Gordon's championship run was back on track. By taking 2 straight, he defined what the season had become, a season of streaks. Throughout 1997, it seemed one win begat another. But Mark's moment in the spotlight was quickly overshadowed. At Charlotte, Gordon made history, becoming the first driver ever to sweep the Winston All-Star Race, the Coca-Cola 600 pole, and the big Memorial Weekend race itself. 2 weeks later, he won again at Pocono, leaving no doubt he was the man to beat in 97.
You know, every time I pull into Victory Lane, I'm more and more amazed that we've actually done it. And, you know, even as much as we have won this year, it's still pretty shocking because this is very competitive, and you got to have just a perfect day going your way. And lately, things have been falling our way.
That win also moved Gordon back out front in the points race, ahead of his ever-consistent mate Labonte. Martin held on to third with Jarrett fourth. Jeff Burton remained in 5th after earning his 3rd straight top 5 at Pocono.
California, here we come! California!
They said California is the place you ought to be, and Roger Penske was listening. He transformed an abandoned steel mill into a state-of-the-art superspeedway, another landmark step in the growth of Winston Cup racing. It also brought America's #1 racing series back to its #1 automobile market. And those car-crazed Californians welcomed NASCAR in Hollywood style.
My name is Selena. I am a guest service ambassador here.
California's been starved for Winston Cup because we haven't had anything other than Sears Point, which is a road course, for years, since Ontario or Riverside. So this is just like a gift from God.
You know, hey, I think they built it and we're going to come, so got it. Right on.
For the inaugural California 500, native son Gordon was easily the crowd favorite, but better odds were with Martin. A week earlier, Martin placed 3rd to Gordon's 5th at Michigan, a track nearly identical to this one, and climbed into 2nd place in the points.
The last 3 months has been, just really great, and I'm just thankful that we've had, as much success as we have had, and I hope and I believe that maybe we can keep it going. I'd like to be a contender for the Cup, and so would Jack Roush and the whole team.
Early on, the 2 favorites dueled on the track, but this would be a battle of pit-side strategists. It was actually Dale Jarrett who made the first move, skipping tires on his 3rd pit stop to take the lead on lap 97. Martin's new tires made his car extremely loose, dropping the number 6 back to 10th.
Feels like it could be the track car. Needs a little rear side bite.
Through the middle of the race, Mark manhandled his Ford as the crew tweaked the chassis. Slowly, he inched back to the front.
And Mark Martin has taken the lead from Jeff Gordon on the 234th lap.
But Steve Meal wasn't cheering. Down pit road, the Rainbow Warriors were playing tortoise to Martin's hare, slowing Gordon down to conserve fuel. Jeff would try to finish without another stop. If he made it, Martin was doomed.
57 to go. 57 to go. We got to get some more fuel. Go, go, go,
The stop was deadly. Mark lost the lead, and worse, the gas man removed the fuel nozzle too quickly.
And Mark Martin apparently is out of gas as Jeff Gordon sets the car into the third corner.
For Gordon, the conservation effort paid off. On the final lap, the car sputtered but kept running through the checkered flag. Jeff ran dry on his way to victory lane. Jeff Gordon, winner of 7 races, was the only Chevy driver to post a win. And Jeff was the most pleasant surprise of all. The only car better than his was the Chevy of Jeff Gordon. And after this pass, Bodine held on for a rejuvenating second-place finish.
As off of corner number 11.
What's this all about? Well, you can only pass to the outside, and he was trying to get a run on him coming down to the green flag. Didn't work.
Gordon went on to win the race and reach another career landmark, his first road course victory ever. More significantly, in the battle for the Winston Cup, he extended his lead to a season-high 109 points over Mark Martin. Despite Martin's consistency, Gordon matched him stride for stride in championship points and came to Bristol leading by 99. This is a track Jeff had adopted as his own, and through the first half of the race, things went as expected. Gordon leading, others crashing. Hoping his bad luck was behind him, Gordon turned his sights to the richest race of his life. As the winner of the Daytona 500 and the Coca-Cola 600, Jeff would enter Darlington with a chance at the Winston Million.
There is Jeff Gordon, who's in 4th position at the moment, a little over 4 seconds behind the leader.
All right, bud, you're running a pretty good clip there. Is the looseness all the way through or just exit? I'm doing all I can right now to hang on to it.
18.2 seconds for the pit stop. That's the kind of stop that can win you $1 million. And with the sequence of pit stops, Jeff Gordon is the leader of the race.
If he point to hell he by, yeah, he's going to let it go. He's not going to bite him.
1 out of the right rear, 4 tires, 1 cam, 1 out of the right rear. Go, 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 go. Whip it out. There you go. Good stop, guys. We're not out of this thing yet. We've got a long ways to go. Still work on it. Go, 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 go. Dig out hard, hard. Go, 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 go.
What a time for the Rainbow Warriors to pull off their second best stop of the day. Jeff Gordon's crew, led by that man right there, Ray Abraham, 17.66 seconds, 4 tires, and 1 round in the right rear.
Here he goes. Oh, they make contact. Oh, and they make contact. They go down into the corner side by side, and Jeff Gordon holds off the challenge onto the straightaway.
Yeah, we did
But
it.
Jeff Gordon wins it.
Holy cow.
The right front just went away on me. I didn't know if I had a fender rubbing or what. And I saw him coming, and I blocked him. He hit me in the rear bumper, and I was just glad that I didn't spin. I kept it going, and that slowed his momentum down enough to where I could block him. I'm sure he's not happy, but Jeff, $1 million. Come on, buddy. What'd you expect me to do, man?
But Gordon and his colorful crew were clearly focused on the biggest payday of all, the $1.5 million championship bonus. After a solid third behind Jarrett and Burton at Richmond, Gordon scored a hard-fought win over Ernie Irvin in New Hampshire, bringing his victory total for this remarkable season to 10. He extended his point lead to 139 over Martin, 188 over Jarrett, and for all practical purposes, eliminated defending champ Terry Labonte from the equation. Jeff Gordon single-handedly racked up 10 victories for Rick Hendrick. At the Rock, it appeared Gordon was ready to crack under the pressure. On the second lap, he brushed the wall in turn 2. Then, on lap 272, he stopped twice under caution to repair a loose axle, falling to 14th position. Runner-up Jarrett not only lost his late lead, but gained only 10 points in the championship chase. That's because Gordon worked his way back to 4th.
Amid regal fanfare, the Big Three of 1997 would indeed have their Atlanta showdown. A cold rain washed out Friday qualifying, and on Saturday, Gordon became the first to stumble. He ruined his best car in a bizarre accident on pit road, forcing the crew to unload the backup just 2 hours before qualifying.
Yeah, we'll just balance them out and go back out. We need to make a qualifying run here, and we don't have very much time. Just leave it blocked off. I don't know if we're going to make it or not. Let's go, guys. We'll back it in and get the motor out right away.
With only 1 lap to redeem himself, Gordon slipped again.
Oh, and he bobbled badly, and Abraham knows that lap went away with that bobble up in 1 and 2.
Gordon needed to finish 18th to guarantee the championship. He would start 37th.
Right now, Jeff Gordon is outside the championship window as we begin the last race of the 1997 NASCAR Winston Cup season, the Napa 500.
Leading at the green was Jeff Bodine. His blistering pole run topped 197 miles per hour on the reconfigured and resurfaced track. Martin was the first with a tactical maneuver. He took just 2 tires on his first stop to grab the lead and 5 bonus points.
You got your 5 points now. Even if it's a tough go around here, it ain't gonna be but about 35 laps. We're gonna be just fine.
Dale Jarrett has dropped back to 10th position, and he's about 8 seconds behind the leader. So maybe the handling not right on the Quality Care Ford. Jeff Gordon picks up another spot. He passes Michael Waltrip, and that will move Jeff Gordon into the 18th position, and it looks like he may get another one.
Though young Gordon had reached his magical 18th spot, staying there wouldn't be easy. The handling on his Chevy deteriorated, along with his right rear tire.
As soon as somebody gets close to me, I'm gonna spin out. 10-4, Jeff.
The Ford credit crew gradually solved their problems and moved back toward the front. But Jarrett's hopes of a win were slim. Bobby Labonte was easily the class of the field, opening up leads as large as 20 seconds. Martin again took 2 tires to lead late in the race, but he lost a cylinder and couldn't hold back Labonte. Mark wound up 3rd with Jarrett 2nd.
Bobby Labonte wins the Napa 500, concluding the 97 season.
But the big story this day was in the back, 4 laps back of the leaders. That's where Jeff Gordon was when he limped across the line in 17th place. It wasn't pretty, but it was enough.
Jeff Gordon wins the 1997 NASCAR Winston Cup Championship, his 2nd.
Overshadowed by Gordon's achievement was Bobby Labonte's first. Of course, the bulk of the 97 season could be summed up in 3 words: Martin, Jarrett, and Gordon. Together, they won 21 times, and if not for that wild crash at Talladega, would have been represented in the top 5 of every single race. Sadly, only one could be champion. And so, after 32 events, 13,213 miles, the 1997 NASCAR Winston Cup season was finished. The quest was over, the champion crowned.
What a year, you know, it's going to be hard to measure up to, and the only thing that could complete it as a career year was winning that championship.
1997 was indeed a career year for Jeff Gordon. 10 wins, including the Daytona 500, his first win on a road course, the Winston Million, and his 2nd Winston Cup championship. In monetary terms alone, his single-season take topped $6 million.
We won some very big races this year, some things that we're very proud of, and big numbers happen to go along with those. And it just seems like we really step up to the plate when the big number's there, but that big number's there because it's something that's very prestigious and something that everybody wants.
Young Gordon is quick to credit others for his meteoric rise. His God, his warriors, and his chief.
Ever since he and I have gotten together, it's like magic, and he creates, you know, this atmosphere around him with his guys, with the guys on the team, and with myself that it's hard not to be able to go out there and win when you're driving a race car that he's working on.
In hindsight, the 1997 season was like so many before. 40-plus teams scratching and clawing for a taste of the prize wine. But sometimes a good fight isn't good enough. Sometimes experience and wisdom fall short. Sometimes even the most deserving miss the reward. This time, youth and determination combined with masterful strategy proved impossible to beat. In time, they'll all be back to battle again. But for now, from this cup, only one may drink.